Alright guys, the Viltrumite world is no longer a distant threat. It's a living nightmare that closing in by the second. While we had glimpses of the clash between the collision of planets and the Viltrumite Empire, make no mistake, we're only in the calm before the storm. The real tension isn't just of the battlefield, but in the shadow of Nolan past. Well, he's desperately clawing for redemption with his family, but can a few good deeds ever truly wash away the blood of a global massacre? We'll find out in this video with the redemption of Nolan and of course the Viltrumite War in episode 5 and 6 of Invincible. Alright guys, a little appointment about the supernatural episode about Inferno and of course the hell of Invincible. Was a subplot in the middle of a galactic war. Felt like a massive distraction. Invincible has a habit of planting seeds that take years to grow, but introducing an entirely new dimension now feels like a feeling when we're hungry for blood of the Viltrumite world. And of course, we had these subplots about, the new presentation about the devil, even Satan himself is in this episode was super crazy. And I know that it feels strange because it's a new concept, but what is the real difference between this filler episode with the in the Inferno and all that, and the Level Street episode with Titan and the Dragon and stuff? It's the same stuff. It's subplot, a little subplot that at the end, I think grow up the story and the whole franchise. So I know that was something strange because it's in this point of the story. Why introduce something new? That is the real question. Because we had another concept, actually a new concept about the mummy. We ever don't know when they development that story. Maybe season 5, 6, or 7. We don't know that. Also, I know that it's only the concept. Why introduce something new in season 5? That is the real problem. And that is why I only say about a little disappointment about this episode, because didn't need a huge analysis for all the episodes. But because the important here is the emotional core of this arc is the reunion between Nolan and David. And it was a pure agony to watch. You had Earl shaking his boots while David carried a lifetime of trauma and rage in her eyes. It's a masterclass in tension, especially with Cecil watching from the sideline like a hawk. Cecil is already calculating a world without Viltrumite, and honestly, looking at the body count, it's hard to argue with his cold logic. But here my biggest problem. Nolan cannot stop lying. He tells David that his life with Oliver's mother means nothing, only for Oliver to overhear him and shatter the illusion as a father. How we can trust as a hero who usually lies as a shield to avoid uncomfortable truth. If Nolan wants to be redeemed, he needs to start being condescending and start being honest, because his protection is actually a slow action potion for his family. When we finally pivot from the front lines, the globe come off, the coalition is picking up isolated Scots. But the Viltrumite aren't hiding anymore. They are relating with total annihilation. The moment they hit the coalition home world, the scale of the massacre changed everything. This isn't a skirmish. Is a genocide, and it forced our heroes to realize that mercy is a luxury that can no longer afford. And of course, guys, we need to talk about Mark and Conquest, because the highlight of the entire season has to be the brutal bone-crushing shutdown between these two characters. For the first time, Mark stopped holding back and stopped apologizing for his power. Conquest is an unstoppable force of nature, a villain that represents the absolute worth of the Viltrumite bloodline. Watching Marv finally embrace the necessary evil to take him down was both terrifying and incredibly satisfying, actually. So, guys, I'm giving this run of episode of 9 out of 10 because the character grows, especially with Mark's love of innocence when, try to do the necessary to survive. And all that, he handled it perfectly. Even the slower moment between Nolan and Oliver, that for me was super necessary to create this connection between father and son, and actually is showing us that Oliver is becoming more than Athens, actually, day by day, and he doesn't feel a connection to Earth. And I think Oliver can join to the coalition with his father. That will be something interesting. Do you think so? So we will see what happens. The question remains: can Mark survive the war without losing his soul? Or is he destined to become exactly like his father? Draw a comment and tell me, do you actually believe Nolan has changed? Are you just waiting for the other show to drop? Subscribe for more. I'll see you in the wreckage of the next episode. I'm Wetex, and bye bye.